Okay, can a bloke turn around here without putting a foot down? Ooh, look at that. He's crafty, this bastard. Okay, well, welcome, good people. Today we're going to have a talk about action cameras, namely GoPro Hero 4 Silver and TomTom Bandit. There's a lot of talk about TomTom Bandit, new kid on the block, so to speak, and a lot of people are probably wondering, is it any good? Well, that's what we're going to deal with. So, I guess to really talk about it, you probably should own one, which I do. I came across the Bandit in some of the early press stuff. I'll just turn around and go the other way, that's a bit boring down through town. And thought, well, I want to get into a bit of this moto vlogging, join the community. And by the way, I'm coining the phrase mlogging. I don't know, maybe somebody already did that, but moto video blogging, mlogging. It's shorter than moto vlogging, so we'll call it mlogging. Anyway, back to the camera. So, we've got this camera, this Bandit. See the early press stuff, think, that might be the way to go. We'll read all about it. So, read up, found out as much as I could about it. Pretty close in spec to the Hero 4 Silver, and pretty much the same price point. But within 4 days of buying a Bandit, I went back to the store and bought a GoPro Hero 4 Silver. Now that might sound like a really terrible thing as far as the TomTom goes, but I didn't give it back. I kept it. Just because there's a few things wrong with the TomTom at this point. Okay? So the first and probably most important is the TomTom is marketed with this whole shake to edit type bizzo. But the issue is it doesn't work, okay? Now, there was a software update I noticed that I pulled down on the phone the day before yesterday. Whether it's any better or not, I don't know, but certainly on the original software it didn't really work particularly well. Now, let's explain what goes on. When you write software for anything with GPS, which this camera's got in it, you need to use some sort of string to determine position, direction, heading, elevation, etc, etc. And there's these things called NEMA strings. Now, I can't guarantee this is exactly how TomTom engineers have done it, but I'm pretty sure if it's not using a NEMA string, it's using something very similar. So a NEMA string is a piece of code that has in it latitude, longitude, direction, heading, velocity. Just depends which string you get. So, you know, you've got a GGA string and a VTG string and a RMC string, etc, etc. And all of this information is available through these strings. Now, it appears that what's happening is the little TomTom gets these strings or some sort of GPS positioning And when it sees a significant change, let's do this. Woo! When it sees a significant change from one string to the next, it marks that point in your video with a bookmark, okay? Now when you go to shake to edit, it grabs those points and it gives you a time snap either side of that point, and that's your action point. So for example, if you're snowboarding and you drop off the edge of a hill, you're probably going to have a very sharp decrease in elevation, and you're also probably going to have a very sharp increase in velocity and acceleration. So somehow it grabs that information, I'm assuming it's an aim string or something like it, and marks the point. You shake it, it grabs those points, allows you to extend the time, but it doesn't allow you to extend it indefinitely, so you can't put the whole video in your edit. And unless you press the button on the back, you can't make those bookmarks. Now, on a motorcycle, it's rather difficult to press the button on the back when you're riding, not to mention possibly dangerous. So that's a bit of an issue. Now, what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. It means that in its current form, the software doesn't really work as you would expect it to. It allows you to overlay GPS indicators like speed and G-loading onto your edited video, but at the time that I bought it, it certainly wouldn't allow you to do that for your whole video. So if there's a bit that's not picked up that you really want, it's very difficult just with the app to get that into your video, and that's kind of the whole marketing piece. So it kind of makes the software redundant if you have to use editing software. The point number 2 is the Bandit does a good job of filming, no doubt, but the Hero 4 Silver has it over it, because even though the specs are pretty well the same, with the Hero 4 Silver you have the screen on the back, which you can't get any sort of viewfinder with the Bandit unless you're going to use a phone in the app. So it's a little bit behind in that regard too, which is probably not a big problem for most people, but it is a point of why it's probably just not quite there yet. The third point that I think is really important is out here in Australia, the guys that are selling these, namely Harvey Norman and so on and so forth, unless of course you buy it from a overseas importer, they don't have at this stage, to the best of my knowledge, access to all the accessories. That was one of the biggest reasons I went and bought a GoPro, because if you want to put audio in, you can't at this stage find the external mic lead. You have to buy it from Camera Warehouse or somebody that imports stuff. So that's a bit of a bummer. The other thing is, you know, the wristband that has that button on it, which is going to be good for you if you want to mark points as bookmarks. That's not available in Australia at the moment either. Well, not from retailers like stock. So what's the verdict? Well, the verdict is that the Bandit is a great camera. It does a great job of filming. I've got it on my head. The GoPro is on the tank, so I'll switch from one to the other and you can have a look, see what you think. It does do a great job of filming. I'm over. So, I've completely lost my train of thought. yeah, so the Bandit does a great job of filming. It's up to the, oh look, there's a fuzz there. It's up to standard with the Hero 4 Silver, absolutely. And it has some good features, but unfortunately it seems as though it was released a little bit early. You know, the thing is, with this type of stuff in this type of market, when you bring it to market, it's got to be spot on. You know, you can't say to somebody, we'll buy it now and in 6 months we'll have the software sorted out. That's not good enough. TomTom, that's just not good enough. It's got to be right when you buy it, you know. You know, there's other little things like when you edit your video in the first lot of software, it would allow you to overlay music, but there was no levels. So if you had a heap of wind noise, which you do when you're vlogging, your music would just be, you know, competing all the time with this ridiculous wind noise. It's just not good enough, you know. I mean, it means you got to go to editing software to fix that up. Well, once again, that makes the shake to edit function redundant, and without that you might as well just buy a GoPro, you know. So all in all, yes, great camera, but would I buy one today again if I had the choice? No. I'd buy another Hero 4 Silver and I'd have 2 of them. Would I buy one in 6 months time when they fix the software up? Absolutely. Absolutely. They are a great camera, but they're just not there yet. Anyway folks, it's been a pretty boring ride, but there's the fuzz again. Bloody hell, the fuzz is everywhere. But I just wanted to talk to you about the Bandit, and if anybody's got a different experience, feel free to comment, and we'll see you on the flip-flop. Rock on, good people. Rock on.